All right, welcome to the nitty gritty. Is this 99?
Hold on, what are we? 8.
98.
We're so
you
close.
would have been Gretzky's number. That's a big deal. Episode 98. We're getting close to 100. It's happening, but we have an artist on today.
Yes, we do.
I kind of just want to call him Ikaika. Like, wouldn't that be kind of cool? Like Prince,
Can we just start now?
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have the artist Ikaika with us.
Formerly known as Tristen.
Used to be Tristen
Yeah.
persons, but Tristen Ikaika.
That's me. Hello.
I mean, artist. I think artist is the best way to say it, right?
Absolutely.
Because you probably do a lot of things,
yeah. I'm all over the place.
but rings that's your sweet spot,
yeah.
which I'm excited to learn about because we haven't had anybody that does. I mean, we've had some people that do jewelry,
Yeah.
but
No rings.
no rings and
Nothing
no
for
like
men.
straight top to bottom design from your head. You know, I would maybe Corey Stevens maybe would be.
Deb Mitchell from Twisted Silver.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Man, we've talked to a lot of people. So that's a lot. Yeah, you're right. Well, not quite, because we did do some recaps. But welcome, man. We're excited to have you here.
Thank you for
We
having me.
Our mutual friend is Susan, the Godfather Peterson.
Yep, we love her.
Yeah, who
She's the
doesn't
best.
love her?
So when did you... Because we just learned that I thought your last name was Ikaika.
Yeah,
So
everyone does.
everyone thinks that's your last name, but
Yeah.
it's not. Where does it come from?
So my full name is Tristen Almley Ikaika Makai Konakalani Persons. My dad's side of the family is from Hawaii, but
How many letters are in your middle name?
28. And I didn't know how to say it till I was in like second grade. And I couldn't spell it till I was in like fifth.
So
bad.
when did you know that you wanted to kind of like rebrand?
I was in 7th grade, and I've never told this. My Instagram was The Real Persons. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. It was so stupid. And then, like, some people were doing like their first name and their middle name. So I was like, well, I can't do Tristen Almley Ikaika Makai Konakalani. Like, so I'll just do Tristen Ikaika.
So like,
And
Wow.
so Ikaika,
ever since.
super ignorant. Does that have special significance in Hawaiian? Just that part of it?
So just that word means strong.
Okay.
So my middle name is like good, strong man of the heavens.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
How did we just get lame names and like
Andrew.
Andrew, Cameron? You know what I mean? Like, it's true. South America, everybody has really long names, like with some cool meaning. A lot of De La Rocas, which is like I'm from the rock, from the stone. That's
Yeah.
kind of cool. I'm just Cameron True.
Yeah. Maybe we should create stage names for like our next
Artist
season.
names?
Yeah.
just make
I'm
them
down
so
with that.
long.
I'll just be the Baron of Beef or something like that. The Prince of Pork.
The Prince of Pork.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to have you. This is such a
Excited to be here.
so how long? So I mean, rings,
Yeah.
and that doesn't really do it justice based
No.
off your Instagram because
We're going to get into
there
all
is
the
so
fun
much
stuff.
more than just the ring, right?
Yeah.
Like just the whole presentation.
But we just found out too, like childhood friends with the guy that works with
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
Cam.
Yeah.
So Marcus, my manager here at Bam Bam's,
Yeah.
I said, yeah, we have this guy that makes rings coming on. His name's Tristen. He's like, that's my buddy. We grew up together.
Hey, we've gone to so many like scout camps
Yeah.
and
And he goes, dude, he's been making, like, he made rings at scout camp. Like, he'd be making rings back in the day.
So-
Which it wasn't that far back, because how old are you?
22.
Yeah, you're young. Wow. That is awesome.
So when did the ring thing start?
So I was like 12 years old. We had a good family friend. His name's Cody Barker. And I thought he's like the coolest person in the world. He still is, but he had a spoon ring and I was obsessed with it. I'm like, that's
What's
so
a spoon
cool.
ring?
Just like a ring made from a spoon.
So you just
And-
take a spoon and just melt it and
It's like a process, but I was like, that's so cool. And I was telling my dad about him and he's like, oh, you know, we could do that in the garage, right? I was like, no. So we literally took a spoon from my mom's kitchen drawer and went into the garage and just like beat this thing like with a hammer and just made it into a ring. And I thought it was so cool that like I had made this ring, and I thought rings were cool. Like if you saw someone not wearing rings and someone wearing rings, but they had the same outfit on, the person with the rings, like the outfit seems intentional, you know, just
Right.
elevates your style a little bit.
You were thinking like this at that age?
subconsciously.
Wow.
Like now I can like look back and be like, oh, that's what it was. But
Dang.
then I just would wear them all through like junior high, high school. Everyone's like,
So that's the first time I've ever heard of making a ring from a spoon. Is that like common knowledge?
so
Of
it's
course.
actually been going on for like hundreds of years, but
Cam, did you legit know about that?
Yeah, mine was made from a wooden spoon though, because my fingers are really fat. And so no,
Like
no,
a
I have
surfing
heard.
spoon?
Yes. So my little brother Tyler used to make jewelry,
yeah.
and so
okay.
yeah. Anyway,
I mean,
didn't know about the spoon ring thing, but
Okay.
yeah.
I definitely didn't invent spoon rings.
Sure.
But anyone who I see selling them now, I'm like, I want royalties from that because you only have a brand because of me.
You made it cool.
So, like, what does that process look like?
So back then it was like just like a vice grip, a hammer, a monkey socket. It was so janky. Now I've cleaned it up quite a bit, but back then it was just like,
So why spoons? Sorry, this is really interesting. Like, why spoons?
I don't know.
Just because like
I
the
think it
material's
was
already there
just,
and
like,
smooth?
Yeah, and it was easy, not easy, but like, I mean, to make a ring, I have no clue how to do that. But to bend a spoon, like I can do that all day. I mean, I have done that for 3 years, but
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah, that's when it all
So
started.
at 12, you make your first ring,
Yeah.
and then like, were you on the hunt for spoons? Like after that, like to think of cool rings, or like, what happened?
No,
next?
I just kind of wore them for myself. Like I'd make them every couple months when I was just like either I'd lost it or I'd want a new one. But it was just like something
Always
I would
stealing
do for
stuff
myself.
from your mom's drawer.
Yeah. No, literally, I still have it.
There's no more damn spoon.
She's like, Tristen. I'm like, no. But yeah, I just kind of like that it was my thing. Like I didn't sell them. I didn't have any interest to like give them to other people. Sometimes people at school would like steal mine. And
Okay.
low key, I like loved it. It was like such a compliment.
It's like when kids, like I was talking to Jenna, my wife, about this. Like kids love to be hurt. Like they love to have a cast on.
Yeah.
Just it's kind of like the
Sign
same,
it. Yeah.
same kind of thing.
Yeah, but never thought I'd sell it. Everyone's like, you should sell these. You should sell these. I'm like, no, it's like, it's my thing,
Yeah.
not your thing.
Yeah.
And then one day I decided to, but
So like, did you grow up like with an entrepreneur family? Like, was that kind
no.
of built into you?
My mom's a teacher. My dad worked at Hewish's across the street, actually. But I think I was
Really?
just, yeah.
Right over here?
Yeah, do you know those guys?
I don't. Like
Oh.
I've never even been in there, but I've always wanted to go in there.
What is it?
Yeah,
They do like
awnings. And,
yeah, and they do
Okay.
custom like canvas work and right? Don't
yeah,
they
yeah,
make, like
yeah.
I mean
he would
everything
make
from like
signs for years.
Okay.
yeah, signs and boat covers and furniture.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll bet it's really cool. I've always meant to go over there and say hi to them, but anyway.
Interesting.
But I think I just always like fascinated by entrepreneurs. The same guy, actually, Cody, he had a company called People Water. I don't know if you remember them.
Uh-huh.
And I would go down to his office with his little brother, Zach. And I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Like they had this bus and I'm like, they have all this and they're selling water. Like,
Isn't that
like what could I
wasn't the
do?
kid from The Bachelor
Yeah.
part of that company?
Jeff Holm.
Yeah.
That's right, Jeff Hall.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think I just was like, I always wanted to do something that was me. Like Shark Tank was my favorite show. Like
Wow.
just loved it all.
So like, were you always pretty fashionable? Like, was that something too that like growing up?
Looking back, I'm like, who let me out of the house? But I definitely have always been like,
I feel like that's what I think of when a lot of like basketball players like, oh, he's so fashionable. I'm like, what?
He looks homeless.
like I'm sorry, like Russell Westbrook. I'm just like stuff that dude wears. I'm like, no, I
Oh, dude.
definitely don't consider that fashion, but
Yeah.
they do for sure. They
Yeah.
do.
I think I've always like cared about my style, but I don't know how into fashion I would say I was.
Okay, cool. So you had the rings. Like, when was the first time you actually started like thinking, hey, I'm going to make something for someone else?
Mhm. So I was doing like wedding videography and
You were doing the videography?
yeah, so this was like my senior year of high school. I was
Okay.
filming weddings, taking pictures for money, obviously. And I started traveling. Like I'd love to travel. I went on one trip out of the country with my best friend and we just like fell in love with seeing the world, like that feeling of just being somewhere you didn't know existed and everything's different.
Where'd you go?
We went to Milan. We went to Italy and Paris, but
Very cool.
He says he's not into fashion, but I mean, he went
that
to the
kinda says
two,
otherwise.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe we're more into it than you thought.
But that trip kind of just like set a spark in me. Like I want to keep traveling. And so I'd film weddings to save up for a trip and then go on a trip. And
While you were in high school.
yeah. So that my first trip out of the country was February of my senior year. Graduated in May and then was kind of filming weddings. Come like December, I was broke as a joke, had no money. I had just got home from a trip to Dubai that I like spent all my money on.
Okay, that's just we're just going to Mulan, Paris, Dubai.
But the
not a big
mindset was
deal.
like film like 2 weddings, buy a trip, come home, you have no money. Like
Right.
that was just the way of life.
When you're
Sure.
a kid too, like that's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Right?
It's only affecting you
How
if
many
you're
kids?
broke.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, how many kids can say they went to Dubai and they earn the money to pay for it themselves,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
makes it even cooler.
And we would like email a million companies like, can we stay? We'll post on our Instagram and
Wow.
send you photos. And we like hustled.
So you were pretty active on Instagram.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Okay, like what type of stuff were you? It's just all your
It
wedding.
was like
photos?
travel stuff.
Okay.
Um,
Had you started to build an audience at that point?
yeah, I think I had like maybe 10 or 12,000 followers,
Okay.
which is like for back then it was decent.
Yeah.
I
But then
wish I had 12,000 followers. It's taken me like almost a decade to get 10 and a half.
I think I have 500.
on your way. But then that December, I was so broke, had no money. And someone commented on one of my Instagram pictures and they were like, does anyone know where he gets his rings? And I was like, oh, like people are paying attention.
Interesting.
So I kind of saw it as like, oh, well, if people want it, like I've been thinking about this forever. Like people have always told me I should do it. So like, I'll just do it, make some money, and then go back to
Go on another
doing my
trip.
thing. Yeah. And it wasn't like, I'm not launching this big business. I'm just kind of like how people sell old clothes on like Depop or whatever. That was the mindset. Like,
Got it.
make some cash and
Do another
people
trip.
who want them, get them. And then I'll figure the next way to make some money out.
Yeah. So then what happened?
So I said I was launching December 3rd of 2017 at 6 p.m. And I like hustled all day to.
So hold on, we got to stop there.
Okay.
I mean, just that right there. Why did you want to, like, how did you know to do a drop? Like,
I just was like, okay, I'm going to release them. And this is the release date. It wasn't super like intentional. It was just like, this is when I'm posting them.
was there another brand or a product that was doing that kind of gave you the idea, or did it just come super second nature to you?
It was just second nature. It was, to me, I didn't think they would sell out. I'm just like, I'm launching them. This is when, like, get ready. I
Okay.
had no clue what was going to happen. And I had spent all day preparing and like gathering spoons and trying to work a Squarespace site. Like I had no clue what I was doing.
Wow.
I went to lunch with 2 of my friends who run a successful e-commerce business, and they were so nice. Like, you're going to use our label printer. You can use our mailers, like just so kind.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I think like I can make this work once. And then 6 o'clock rolled around and I'm still uploading everything because it was taking way longer than I thought. And I refreshed my email and it's just like, you have a new order, you have a new order, you have a new order. And I'm like, whoa, like I'm not ready, like chill. And then everything sold out in like a couple hours. And I was like, holy crap, like what just happened?
How old were you?
I was 19. I had just turned 19.
Holy moly.
So what types of rings did you make?
They were all spoons.
All spoons.
So it was just like pictures of spoons on my website and people bought them and then I would turn it into.
How many
a
rings
ring.
did you make that first round?
This is so cool.
It was
It's
either,
awesome.
Oh my God.
I think it was like 100. It was either 127 or 187. I forget.
So you see a spoon you like and
Yeah.
just buy as many of them as you
As
can
I could
find.
find, yeah.
Like, where do you find them?
Crap.
Just like merchants, thrift stores, antique shops. Like I have some people now who like are super into spoons who I like have connections with, but that was just, well, I had done it for years. So I was just like, I'm
spoon
just sharing
collecting
it
is
with
a
people
huge
now.
deal.
Oh,
by the
for
way.
sure. Yeah.
Like who would have ever known? Like Howard Stern talked about it a bunch. One of his guys that works on the show collects spoons.
Yeah.
I'm like, spoon collecting? What? Oh, could you imagine if we could get like a set from like Windsor Palace or something? Like
Oh my gosh.
that, right?
Yeah.
That would be unreal. Like I'm gonna make rings out of this stuff. Wow.
From the royal family.
Well, because if you think about it, like it sounds like from an early age. And maybe this is like the younger generation growing up with social. And, you know, you have to be creative. Like you are kind of selling yourself. Like, what do people respond to? Like, they know all of that just from their social media, right?
Yeah.
And so Nike is the best at this. It's all about a story.
Yeah.
And
all their advertisements are stories.
Yeah.
totally right.
Yeah.
And a spoon has a story. Like, where did it come from? What's it made out of? Like, some are made. So anyway, it's like before you even make the jewelry and turn it into your unique design.
Yeah.
The material itself already has like
A story
of where it's been, who's used it, how old it is. Like,
and people
it's
were
brilliant.
connecting with it. Like, oh, this was the spoon at my grandma's house. Like,
right.
and it was like a connection with me. Like, I posted pictures of me on all my trips, and just from years, like, here's me wearing the rings in 7th grade looking like a dork. And like, here's me in Dubai jumping off a G-Wagon with spoons. Yeah.
Do you save a spoon, like, from every collection you do? Do you save one?
No. If
That
there's
would
like
be
a
a
really
pretty
cool one
cool,
that I
like-
want,
Like your like wall of fame with
Yeah.
spoons or something.
I have all my like I send a thank you card with each collection.
Right.
That has like a picture from wherever the place was. And I have all those on the wall.
Okay.
And then
Unreal.
I have some like display cases with
I mean, you go to
rings
the
I've
website
made.
and it's
It's spoons.
100 different spoons and they're all sold out. But yeah, they're all so
People
unique
get
and
so confused
different.
though.
They
Like,
probably think you sell spoons.
friends of mine think I sell spoons. I'm like, what the hell are you guys thinking? But I mean,
Like
you
you
can't
keep talking
blame
about
them.
rings, but all I see are spoons.
That'd be a funny joke
Yeah.
if you actually did a drop
and
you
just sent
didn't
the
make
spoon.
them rings.
Oh my gosh, my life
were
would be
just spoons.
so much easier. I would save
Wait, what?
so much time and money.
Oh,
It was
that's
spoons.
so- Okay, so you make the first drop, you sell
Yeah.
out. There's no way you were ready for that.
No,
Like
no,
package, ship, get that.
Yeah.
I mean,
no clue what I was doing.
what was that like?
So I went to my Colby and Kenzie Bauer. I don't know if you know them, Thread Wallets.
Mm-hmm.
But I drove to their office and printed out the labels at like super late at
Just
night.
friends with them?
Yeah.
Okay.
He just was like gave me the code to get in, and I was there printing them. And then literally went to my garage to start making these like I normally did. And my dad's like, it is way too cold out here. Like, you can go in the basement. So then I made them all out of the basement and set up a little table and stuff. And it took all week to get them out. And my hands were like blistering and so bruised, but it was like so exciting. So then I was like, hey, I'll do it again this week. And same thing, sold out again.
So you said, so you kind of hyped it up. You're going to do
Yeah.
another drop. So when you do it, do you just like show a picture of the spoon?
I didn't show any. I would show like sneak peeks, but like
Okay.
not really much.
Okay.
So the beginning was kind of very different than what it is now, but so I had those first two drops, and then a family friend had paid for my sister. She lives in Hawaii, and her family to come visit us for Christmas because my parents had kind of had crazy health things that year, and it was super nice of him. And I was just like, you know what, we should all go to Disneyland. Like, we've never been. You can always like make more money, but you can't always have more time. So like,
Amen.
we'll just do that. It'll be so fun. So I gave that to them for Christmas. We went down. It was so fun.
You gave Disneyland to your parents? and
So
family?
my family, yeah.
That's so cool.
And it was like so fun. Like, I'll never forget it. But when we were down there, my sister was like, you should get spoons from down here and come home and do like a Disneyland collection. But I called it the Anaheim collection because, you know, don't want Disney
That's
coming
probably
after
smart.
me.
Yeah.
And then that sold out. And then I had a trip coming up to the Bahamas, and I was like, wait, this could just be like, do this, get some money, go on a trip, use the trip to like, now I can write it off as work, and
To go look for
I
spoons
can
in
like
the Bahamas.
justify traveling because I wanted to do that, but
19 years old,
Yeah.
like
Yes,
thinking
it's-
about all this stuff.
So far beyond.
I mean, having the network that you did,
you're nice.
it's awesome. Holy crap! And not necessarily an entrepreneurial family or background.
I mean, we definitely had a lot of like good friends and people who are
Right.
willing to share advice, which I'm so grateful for. But
it's just so awesome.
yeah,
I mean, it literally started with a spoon,
from my mom's
right?
drawer.
Like,
yeah.
it doesn't start with this 30-page business plan.
Mhm.
It doesn't start with, here's my market research and my competitive advantage. It's here. And then like and to your point, Cam, like the social media thing, I don't think you give yourself enough credit because that is genius to like come
Right.
up with the drop idea. Like,
Mhm.
freaking sneakers app is the stupidest thing ever invented, but I spend all my time trying to win those shoe drops.
Yeah.
But like that you just kind of threw it out there because that's also what the world is. Like that didn't cost you anything,
Yeah.
right? To say, hey, I'm going to make some rings.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't cost any money.
Yeah.
You just got to be
And I
willing
think
to
it
throw it
played
out
to
there.
my advantage because a lot of people, like the people that were telling me, you should start selling these. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Like,
Right.
I don't know what I would call it or anything. But the fact that it was like a one and done thing, I wasn't like, it didn't have to be perfect. It just had to work. And I think that's a good mindset to have is like, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to like start.
That's exactly right.
That should be like the motto on the wall for every. I had an employee talking about starting a business. Like she was just like, but I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm like, I still don't know what I'm doing.
Perfect
And it's
is
No
going
one
great.
does, yeah.
So,
Perfect is the enemy of good.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. So yeah, you have to start.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
and you pre-sold them. So like you did the drop, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You didn't, if they would have flopped,
Yeah.
you don't do anything,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Like there was no
It
real
was just some
financial
spoons.
risk either.
Yeah. Yeah. None. I think I started with probably like $100, if that. Like my costs were low.
That's so awesome.
But I had to like making them after was stressful because if you order it, I don't know if you're a size 5 or size 12. So then
12.
13 maybe.
Yeah, actually, I think
Okay.
13 is probably safer.
Yeah. But that was like a process to figure out.
Right.
like how to
that
size
part
them.
too. Yeah.
So what is that? Like how did
I
you
just
do
have
that?
like a measuring thing that I use. But at the very first drop, actually, I didn't collect sizes because I didn't know how. And it didn't work like a typical site where it's like we have 2 mediums in stock and 1 large. It's like, no, I have 1 shirt and tell me the size that you want. Like
Right.
it was super foreign to the site. They had to like go in the back and then code it in my site.
So how did you get sizes?
I emailed every single customer that first drop and I'm like, what size do you want? What size do you want?
Oh,
Yeah, it was scrappy.
that is so
Well,
awesome.
the fact that nobody even asked about that, like they just
Yeah,
liked
they
them
just
so
were
much
like,
they
I
didn't
got
care.
a ring.
Yeah.
Like I'll put duct tape on my finger if it doesn't fit. Like I'm wearing this thing. I mean, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I was grateful. But that was like the birth of the business.
Okay. At the time, like,
Mm.
did you know like the name brand you were trying to do at that time?
No, I was just like everyone's website at the time and now still is just like their name. Like everyone brands themselves. So I was just like TristenIkaika.com, Tristen Ikaika rings. Like that's what it's gonna be for now.
Yeah.
And then it just stayed.
So when did it start to take off for you?
So I was kind of just like, I'm just going to ride this wave until people are sick of it and stop buying them. And so I'd go on a trip, do a drop, and it just like kept working. And I think I was putting everything into it because I wasn't doing anything else. And I enjoyed it so much that I was just like, this is it. Like if this fails, I fail. So I have to put everything into making sure that next drop is bigger than this drop. And I went to Iceland and did an Iceland drop. And I had found this like rose spoon that was super cool. And I bought like a ton of them. I think I spent like a couple of $1,000 in inventory for it, which at the time I was like sick to my stomach. I was like, if this doesn't sell, like, I don't know what I'll do. And then they all sold out. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? And I think that was the moment that I'm like, okay, this is insane. Like I could actually have something really good if I kept running with this and like really solidified everything.
Was it just you still at that point, kind of doing everything?
Yeah, it was me in my parents' house. My dad's has always helped me. I would like pay like friends to come like help pack, but yeah, just
This
out
is
of my
awesome.
I
parents'
love the
house.
hustle.
Me too.
I should show you
I
pictures. It
love
was like
this.
so messy in our house, just spoons and labels everywhere.
Oh, I saw one of the posts of you printing out labels and then you're trying to re-spool them.
Oh, with the drill.
Holy crap.
Gives me
Oh, is that what
anxiety.
that was? A drill?
I
was
used
really
to do it with a
smart.
drill because they wouldn't come out. I got
Right.
folded once now, so now it's not as fun, but I would tape it to a drill and just zzz, and they would all just
it was
wind
crazy.
up. It was so,
So one side is just printing, just spitting these. I mean, it covers the whole floor. And all of a sudden you see one row just take off up and it's like re-spooling them. And I'm like, can you imagine? I hate sending, like if I sell a pair of shoes on StockX, it's like, it takes me 2 days just to like finally buckle down and throw a label on it and send it.
yeah.
Like that's crazy. And you have a smaller product, so it's like you're selling a lot of something
Yeah.
and they're all going somewhere different. So, wow.
So the
amazing.
first time I saw anything from you was around one of your press releases.
Press boxes.
Your press boxes. When did the packaging become important in what you were doing?
At the beginning, I knew like if I threw this little ring in a paper envelope and wrote your name in pencil, you're going to be like, this is a piece of crap. But if I like put it in a nice box and like a nice mailer, it would feel like
we eat with our eyes.
This is nice. Like packaging is everything these days.
How did you know that back then though? I mean, you say that so confidently.
I think just as a consumer, the way I responded to things, I would just look at it from the other side. Like, okay, what do I like about all these things? Okay, I'll spend $20 more on this if it has cool packaging. So if I nail my packaging, it'll make the product feel nicer.
Okay.
It's got to be a generational thing. Like, because it's true, everything you grow up like buying or whatever else, like
so what
everything he was
have?
into, we didn't. Like everything that he was probably into, like you see it online, like packaging is, I mean, even just going to the store nowadays, like packaging is everything. But I mean, psychologically, it's like, you know, I used to cook in barbecue competitions and the visual is any food tastes better if it looks good first.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just something about that. And so even, you know, you go to Walgreens to buy some hair gel, right?
Yeah.
You don't know the difference between a lot of them, but if one looks cool, that's probably the best one. And so, and again, like it would be sad to cheapen the story of the spoons. Like the spoons have a story, right? There's something the Iceland thing, like that's amazing. So to have packaging kind of represent that. Mm-hmm. Oh man.
So what was your first boxes like? Are they what they are now?
They were just black boxes from Amazon. And then like around that time of the Iceland collection, I was like, oh, I want to make my own. I had no clue how. I like would email companies like, where do you get your boxes? Expecting it to be like, oh, this place in Provo.
Like U-Haul.
And they're like China. I was like, oh, I forget people get stuff made there. Literally everything. So then I got boxes with my name on it that I was like, oh, these are so cool. They were nothing special.
So how'd you do that though even?
Just hopped on Alibaba and figured it out. It was so hard. Way harder than it should have been, but I didn't know what I was doing.
So cool.
But then I wanted to do a press box because I had seen Kim Kardashian do them. She did like a fragrance inside of a chocolate heart. I don't know if you've seen it. And you had to break it open with a hammer. And I was like, oh, that is so smart. Like just Kim is a genius. But I was like, a press box would be amazing. And like, it'd make the product feel so cool and you can send it to people and they'll just want to post it because it's so cool. And then I got a package from an ice cream company that had dry ice in it, obviously. And I just played with the dry ice. And I was like, wait, this would be genius. But if I shipped rings in dry ice just for the effect, like there's no reason these rings need to be cold. But if I did that, like that's so freaking cool. So then I got to work on that. Took me literally 1.5 years to figure out the logistics of that. But I was
so that's the first one that I saw.
Probably.
Like I'll never forget. Like I think it was actually Susan.
Okay.
Who posted, and she opened this box, and all of a sudden it was just like smoke just coming out of this box, and then there was something in the middle with her name on it. I was like, what in the crap is this?
Yeah.
And it opened and there's rings. I was like, I'm still not sure what I'm looking at. Like,
yeah.
Is this a ring company?
You're like, but I want it.
I was like, I want my name on one of those boxes.
Yeah. No, everyone wants like, how do I get one? How do I get one?
And so someone sent you ice cream and that gave you the idea?
That was the idea, yeah.
And then, so what happened? Walk us through. Like
what ice cream were you buying, by the way?
Who was it? It was Halo Top. They're like, we'd love to send you our product to try.
Oh,
like,
so this was like an influencer thing. Unreal. I got to get more followers. Like I want ice cream sent to me. That'd be amazing. But I mean, you're so, what's the word? It just seems like
nonchalant about it.
No, not even that. Like just so aware.
Oh yeah.
Like at your age to like draw inspiration. Like it seems like kind of drawing inspiration from things came supernatural to you. Mm-hmm. And it's like, where does that come from? You know, where do you like brothers and sisters?
No,
you don't have brothers and sisters.
I have like, 2 sisters, but
older, younger,
older. They're both older. One's like so 13 years older. Yeah,
we see that a lot. I don't know it. Because I mean,
It's fascinating.
it's fascinating because and maybe it is like growing up in this era.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your most formidable years were the last 10 years, which I would say packaging and marketing are better than they've ever been in the history of man, right?
Yeah.
And that's just what he saw every day through,
And I think social media too, like,
well, that's what I mean. Like that's where you're seeing it, right?
and it's fun to like make fun of the blogger moms, but those ones are the geniuses who like build a personal brand and then give their audience a product that they know their brand or their whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I still want to know, like, you said it took like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Was there a lot of failed attempts at making that
Oh my
work?
gosh. I talked to one supplier for like 8 months and then he just ghosted me. But it was awful. Like, so there were so many parts to that box, but the first one was the box inside that held the 5 mini boxes, which was a different project. But the big one, I was like, I want it matte. I want my name on the inside. I want my website on the bottom. The first sample comes back. It's glossy. My name's on the outside and my name's the wrong way. And I'm like, what is like, I mean, it was the cheapest supplier by far. So it kind of was just like too good to be true.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, like fix this. Comes back. My name's in the right place, but it's still glossy. I'm like, I want it matte. 4 weeks later comes back. It's matte, and now my name's on the outside. I'm like, what is like? Where
were these guys? What was
they
this?
were Alibaba people.
Oh, okay.
And then finally, I'm just like, screw you. I'm like finding someone else. And then I found a really great box supplier who I still work with. But
like,
that was the first box.
How did you know with the dry ice and to get it to
I
come
didn't.
out?
It was like one step at a time. Like I got those boxes, finally got them, and then I was like, hey, I need a styrofoam box. Went on Alibaba to figure out how much those would cost. It was like $20,000. I was like, oh, great. I came this far, and that was it. It was a good run. Then I found a styrofoam box supplier, and they had a box that like was half an inch too small. But I was like, I'll take a sample to see. And we got it, and we actually would like sand out the sides of the box. So like my box would fit inside on this little shelf.
Okay.
Fit perfectly. And I was like, I could not have planned this better. But in hindsight, I would have got the styrofoam box first and then fit my box to that box.
Yeah.
But that was so stressful. And then figuring out how to ship dry ice, like the day I went to ship everything, that was a nightmare on its own.
So like explain your thought process behind like what did you want people to experience when they opened everything?
So the experience of the press box is I wanted people to want to Snapchat it or like put it on their story, basically was the goal. And so I knew if it was like unnecessarily cool and something that only happened once, that's what people always Snapchat. Like your friend blowing out his birthday candles, it's like a moment that's like, I don't know. Nowadays, you just don't let moments happen. Like people have to film them. It's kind of weird, but
it is weird.
I
Still.
hate it.
Any sort of like movement, people are like, oh, like light this firework, film the firework. Like, why do we like just watch the firework? But we can't. You have to film it. And if I'm doing this just for effect, you're not just going to sit there and be like, oh, this is cool. Like you're going to be like, look what I'm doing. And then I knew people are whores for their names. Like, absolutely, right?
It's so everyone loves to hear their name. It's so true.
Like
I saw the box. I was like, I want my name on a box.
Yeah.
I wonder if any marketers are listening to this. Like, do you know how much money I had to pay to learn this crap?
Or they
like
say,
I went to school to learn all this stuff, and it's just common sense for Tristen, right?
Yeah. I just think people
Ikaika.
love Snapchatting their name. Yeah, for Ikaika.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
It's starting now.
Formerly known as Tristen.
Yeah.
Yes.
But people will Snapchat anything with their name on it, like their freaking Starbucks cup, their
Moors.
thing, like their birthday plate at Cheesecake Factory, whatever. So I knew if I put people's names on it, like then it's about them. It's no longer about me. It's about them. And then like the movement of opening the box with the dry ice was just like this beautiful like moment.
How many of those did you send out?
Like 250 or something.
Wow.
It was the day I shipped them out felt like the Amazing Grace. Like
How did you decide who to send them to?
I just went through everyone I was following and anyone who I felt like influenced me or I was inspired by, I sent one to. Like people
Did you know all of them?
Not all of them. Like some people I'd just be like, hey, you've inspired me for years. I'd love to send you my rings. No obligation to post or even send me your address. But if I got their address, the box was so cool that I knew they were going to post it.
Oh, sure.
But even just like family, friends, and people with like 300 followers, I'm just like, no, these are just like my people.
Yeah.
Which I feel like almost resonated with people, that it wasn't this like untouchable, only people with 1 million followers got it.
Yeah.
Like, no, most people that got it didn't have that many followers, but it was just like a community thing, I guess.
So with the press box,
Yeah.
was it also like a limited drop for rings as well? Or was the focus more on the press box and less on the ring? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What I'm asking?
So I didn't sell the press box, actually. They weren't even for sale.
Okay.
So initially it was just to like announce the launch of my, like I started in December, had this idea in June. I was like, oh, that'd be cool. Just like announce that I'm selling rings. Little I didn't know it would take so long that by the time it came around, it was right before Black Friday. And I was like, wait, this actually like kind of worked out. So it was kind of like hyping up my Black Friday collection.
Okay.
Which the timing turned out perfect for that. And so it was just like announcing the Black Friday sale.
So were people able to buy the rings then that you put in the press boxes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was kind of a beast to figure out, but we got it.
That's crazy. So how many press boxes have you done then?
I've done 2. So I did one 2019 Black Friday, and then the roses for 2020. Yeah.
So is that the idea? You'll just do like one per year?
I think for sure during Black Friday, I'll probably do like mini ones with just like for certain projects, not sent out to as many people.
Yeah.
But Black Friday for sure, like make it an event like it has been.
This is so cool. I'm going through the post right now and just, I mean, it's cool that you make such a unique, awesome piece of jewelry, but how many people are buying them for like, I like the ring, but I really want to see the box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I want the whole brand to be like an experience.
Right.
From the time I announce the collection to the time I'm asking people to name the pieces to the time they get their ring and it smells good and just everything that goes into it, I want people to like experience.
So I know
It's amazing.
there's like this evolution with marketing brand, especially on social. Susan actually talks about it a lot, where it turns from like an art to a science.
Yeah.
You know, she's like, I just hire scientists now. You know, it's all like data analytics and all this kind of stuff. Where are you in that realm right now? Like, are you starting to get to the scientific side, or are you still more just on the art side? Like, it's just, we're just going to do this.
I'm like kind of in the middle, I would say. Like I'm ready to take that next step of being like, just people like analytic people, what works, let's plug it in and do it. But also the part that people like is the fun artistic part.
Yeah.
So trying to like keep those coexisting, and I don't have like a team or anything. It's just like me and my like assistant.
Oh, you will. You'll have a team very
But-
soon. I have a feeling.
It's hard to like make that step into the next, like,
Totally.
I don't know.
You ever heard of imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I feel it all the time.
Totally. Like I love talking to people. Like, you know how you just know, like, in 2 years or a year, like he won't even remember us. But
Oh, be quiet.
but like we're gonna be like, we got to talk to him before, and you know it's kind of like how it started. Like if you look at your year over year, just, I mean, it's just you've just evolved so much in what 2-3 years is all.
Yeah, 3 years.
I mean,
Crazy.
it went from it, and just to look at this, how come businesses that start in garages are the coolest?
They always are.
They always are.
Just like
Right?
the extra space in the house that no
Yeah.
one cares about.
And it's just like, that had to be. So what do your parents think of all this?
They love it. They're so supportive.
I was going to say, I would be like just beaming as a dad,
Oh, yeah.
seeing my kid do this.
This is exactly what you want for kids.
For
Find
sure.
something they love that they're willing to work their butts off for, and that they find success at. Like, what else do you want?
Well, and self-taught, and
Yeah.
networking. Like your age group, it's hard. It's really hard to learn how beneficial friends and connections and network, like people helping people. It's hard to learn that at that age. Like, and not just that, but being grateful for it. Like,
Yeah.
you don't sound like a 22-year-old kid at all, right? Like, I mean, you're still showing gratitude publicly to the people that helped you with print labels and had stuff kind of set up and had the, what's the word I'm looking for? Not logistics, infrastructure.
Yeah.
to pull off what you wanted to pull off. And so it's amazing. And I mean, what an education. Like most kids are just droning away in maybe go to college. I don't want to make fun of it too much, but you can't learn what you're learning at college.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's experience and passion. And I mean, how many people know how to work with suppliers and create, ship in bulk, not just shipping in bulk, but design packaging.
Yeah.
And who do you even call for packaging? Like now you've had worked with people in China. And
yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, every aspect, there's so many moving pieces.
Yeah, for sure.
It's cool.
I remember seeing a quote that was like, never take advice from someone who isn't where you want to be. And this was like the end of high school when everyone's like, do I go to school? Like everyone's pressuring me to apply to colleges, but I'm just like not feeling it. But everyone's like, you're kind of a failure if you don't. Like that's just the next step. Like
crazy?
you go, like what are you going to do if you don't go? So I remember like Colby and Kenzie, my friends Trevor and Steph, like those were the people that I'm like, you run a successful e-commerce business that was built off of Instagram, which not that I'm close to them at all, but to me, it was like the next step in my life was like where they were. They're only a few years older than me. Like that's where I want to be.
Yep.
So I'll like go to them and like get my education through people that I look up to and respect. And now it's still like people with product businesses who have like happy families. I just look up to them and I'm just like, you're killing it. Like that's the goal.
How cool.
I think it's another thing to point out. People are, well, not everyone, most people are super willing to like help and give back, right? Like,
especially the ones who have been there.
Yeah. Like, and so I think a lot of times people are like, oh, I wish I could talk to so-and-so. That's what's wild about social in the world that we're in. Everyone is literally a send away from connecting with somebody. And who knows if they will or won't, but why not try?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
I mean, like we were talking that you met Susan because you just messaged her.
Yeah.
Like I didn't.
So many people I met.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
And so like if you're thinking of a business and you're doing this stuff, like, and maybe you don't have like personal friends as mentors, reach out to those brands that you look up to or people that, who knows what types of information or connections that they're going to be willing to give you.
Well, and talent recognizes talent. Someone like Susan is probably getting 50 messages a day like, hey, will you post this for me? Or like you have to know how to ask, right? But two, there has to be something that the other person recognizes maybe in themselves or appreciates. Like you see the hustle, you see the hard work. And it's funny. I had this musician tell me this one time. I was catering for Wild Feathers. It's this country band that I love, but they had this guitarist with them. His name's Daniel D'Amato. He's in the guitar world. He's a big deal. Like he's a genius, right? But he said this one night, I was feeding them and we were just talking about all the cool stuff that I had been able to do with barbecue, like the places I've gone. And he goes, dude, talent finds talent.
Yeah.
Like you meet talented people because you're an expert at something. So other experts at things are going to feel that, there's going to be that common ground.
Yeah. I think good work always gets found.
Right. And it's just, there's just kind of a pull there. And so like to see it, but it's a refreshing thing too, to see a kid your age working this hard and being this passionate about anything is a rare thing. And that's okay. Like when you're young, you should be young. And if you haven't found your thing yet, whatever, like you can travel, have fun.
Yeah.
But if you find your thing, you got to go for it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the other important thing. I think a lot of times people will maybe have the first experience of the drop and like, oh, that was really good. And they kind of taste the success, but they're not willing to kind of double down on it.
Yeah.
Right.
They're not willing
they don't believe in themselves.
They're not willing to put in the effort and they don't think that it's going to work again. And so they just stop.
We got lucky.
Yeah.
It's like how many businesses.
He still has that.
Oh, totally.
You can totally see it. Like the imposter
I still feel like my back's against the wall. Like,
right.
And that don't ever lose
at
it.
the beginning. Yeah.
That's the thing. Don't ever lose that. Like you always do your best work when your back's against the wall.
I think it's good. You like
100%.
Go with a different fire than if you have a safety net.
So I have a question. Like, how have you been able to kind of build your community? Like what types of things have you found works really well? Because you have a pretty passionate like following. I mean, we'll talk about the toilet thing that just happened.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Wait, what? Oh, I can't wait.
But like what have you done, and has it all just been natural, or have you been super intentional on how to build that?
It comes naturally, but like I definitely put effort into it.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think taking care of people is the number one thing that is important. And if people feel like they're a part of something, that's all anyone wants to be these days, right? Is feel like a part of a community. So really honing in on like specific individuals and like just really taking care of people in customer support. And
like, how do you make them feel like they're part of something? You know, if you're one of, even if it's 100, that's still a very small percentage. So how do you make them feel important?
I think posting everything that's like authentic and genuine, like, okay, this is the ring. This really personally is why it's like I wanted to make it. And then there's people who will relate to that. And then I love to just like keep things fun and like exciting and people on their toes, whether it's like a cool video or like a press box or something that's like, I almost say like I'm doing it for myself, but I'm also doing it for the community. Like it's fun to like work for months on a project and have everyone be so stoked on it. Like it's for me, yes, but also enjoying that with everyone else is like the best feeling.
Like watching them.
It's got to be
enjoy
such
it.
a fun payoff. Like you put all this work into designing these boxes and the rings, and just to start seeing those videos trickle in of people finally getting to open them.
Yeah.
And I mean, the amount of work that went into it and pressure. Wow. I mean, it would be, why would you ever stop doing it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah,
fun.
It's got to be hard too, because just to stay creative and come up with new things.
Like lately, I've kind of been struggling in the sense that I'll look at other people who are doing tens of millions a year, and I'm just like, oh, I haven't really done much at all, actually. Which I'm very grateful for where I'm at, but it's definitely hard to like look back and be grateful instead of looking at the mountain you still want to climb.
It's
total human nature.
Yeah, you compare what it's like. You compare your chapter 2 to their chapter 10.
Yeah,
right. Like it just, you'll never win. You'll never come out ahead. So how have you been able to fight that?
That's a good question. Still figuring it out. I think just working on like personally, like what feels good and what feels right, and just going with the gut feeling.
I think it's important to celebrate your successes.
Yeah.
Do you do something after like a successful drop? Like, do you have either reward yourself with a trip, even go to your favorite restaurant? Like, do you have any sort of mechanism to like reward yourself?
No, I feel like I've never like felt like I've like made it, you know, because there's always more to be done, which I think a lot of entrepreneurs will relate to. But I'm definitely like, there's drops that go really good, and I'm like, wow, like just take a moment to be super grateful. But now it's like, now we got to get all these out. So like, let's get these out. Right. And then once we ship them out, it's like, okay, well, the next drop's in a few weeks. So like, I got to buckle down for that, and never ending. But
so when somebody buys a ring, like how long is it? So you'll drop it. They buy it.
Yeah.
How long do they normally wait for?
It depends. This drop, I just dropped on Sunday. We got out yesterday. So we shipped it out in 3 days.
Did you really?
Yeah.
So
which was like huge for me.
Wait, but if you're doing custom, so how many was it?
It was like a couple thousand.
So you can make those.
So some of them
days?
were designs that I had like made and had manufactured, which is kind of the wave I'm on now, because I can be more creative, and the designs are really mine, not just like spoons I found.
And is it now more, you only have a certain amount of sizes?
Right.
Or is it still like, it might be 100 people and they might all be the same size?
Yeah, so it's like this last drop, I did like a butterfly ring and this other ring, and I had sizes like 5 through 9.
Okay.
That's not nice.
And then I had a bunch of spoon rings. So I still have the spoon rings that I make custom for people, but then I have the designs that I manufactured that are, easier to crank out, more scalable.
Oh, that's the worst when Nike does a drop and they stop at 13. Sons of bitches.
The size of your feet.
15, 16 and some.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it really
that's
sucks.
Jacked up.
But some of the women's shoes are coming out in 16 and a half now. So 15 is like the last, which it's kind of, have you noticed that lately? Like they're dropping shoes that they call women's shoes, but they go to a 16 and a half. And so anyway, most of the time there's enough, but yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you still have the custom ones I can get.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, always.
Because I get
Always
that.
part of
Like,
it.
you know, inventory.
Yeah.
If I'm a clothing company, I'm not going to, it's hard. Like
Yeah.
making those big sizes. It's like, yeah, you got to stick to where
Yeah, kind of hard. to hit
98% of
minimums.
the human beings are.
So how often
Yeah.
are you doing drops?
Like once a month. This right now it's every 3 weeks.
Okay.
Because earlier this year, my dad was in the hospital, so things were kind of crazy for a little bit. But yeah, every
So
3 weeks
did
right
you
now.
stop doing them during that time?
Yeah. So the January drop, I was just like, this isn't happening.
Yeah.
Was that hard to take a break?
No. To
No?
take a break, no.
Yeah.
The hospital was hard, but
I'm sure.
the break, I was like, it's just right now, it's not important to me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely pressures to keep it afloat and make sure it stays running. But at the time, I was just like, this is not where my attention is. So
Good for you for
Sorry
being able to
for-
do that, too.
Seriously.
yeah,
Like it's such a, you really are so far ahead of the game and just kind of knowing what's important. I really want to figure out where that comes from for you because you have
Everything
a
is
huge
so
heart,
natural.
right? Like you
think-
seem to have your priorities.
I think a big part of it is like my parents. When I was in 5th grade, my dad had a heart attack, and when I was a junior in high school, he had another one that was pretty bad. He had like open heart surgery, and then a couple months later, my mom got diagnosed with breast cancer. So that year was just like, what are your priorities? Like, what's important in life? What do you want out of life? Kind of just makes you like look at everything with a different eye than you did before.
For sure.
And you know, I'm not grateful that my parents have gone through the health struggles that they have. Like seeing that isn't easy. But I'm grateful for what it's taught us. Absolutely. And I wouldn't change it. But yeah, I don't know. Life's crazy. We all have our own cards we're dealt, but
For sure. But I mean, the way you handle it, because you're right. I mean, there's, you learn really quick during something like that where your priorities should be.
yeah.
Right. And at your age, I keep saying at your age, I'm old. Like, it's funny. I feel like I'm talking to a kid and I'm old. I turned 42 yesterday.
You are old.
Son of a bitch. Leave me alone. No, but it's, you know, maybe like we're dads and my oldest is 13. So it's just, as parents, like I'm getting to that point now where whenever I see my kids like make a good choice or learn something like you learn, like it's just so heartwarming to me and it means the world. And so I think a lot of what I view now, especially with a younger person like you, is just like, it is like dad. It's like, oh man, I don't even know you, but I'm like, I am so proud of
So
this
proud
kid.
of
You're
you.
so
Like
nice.
this is such a good kid.
Yeah.
And
You're super
it's so
nice.
cool that, I mean, it is such it's so hard to go through those things, but it is. It's a blessing. Like,
Yeah.
and it's helped you not just in business, but in friendships. Like, you're obviously a very likable person, and it is hard that all of our growth comes from. It has to generally come from hard things. But like you said, like you wouldn't
Yeah.
trade it. Of course, it sucks that it happens, but I mean, I'm sure your dad and your mom are like, yeah, I didn't want to go through the health thing, but man, look at these dang kids. They're freaking awesome. Like we did a great job, and
Yeah.
it happened for a reason.
Yeah.
Right.
You
I
come
mean,
out stronger.
You come up with your own reason, obviously, but yeah, at the end of it, you look back and you try to take the good from it. And there's so much heart in what you do. And so much of that has to, like, it makes sense now to me. It's not really about knowing what you know, but it's just, you've learned what you know from your experience. And it translates into what you sell. And it's saying that you sell it is almost
cheapens
cheapening
it a
it,
little
right?
bit. Yeah.
like, this is like, people are buying something from your soul.
I appreciate that.
You know what I mean?
Well, they're buying the experience, right?
Well, but yeah, and
everything,
that
like a
all
piece
comes
of him.
from Tristen,
Yeah.
and all of that comes from your experiences, your travel and the trials you've gone through with your parents' health. And like, what better story is there than that?
Totally.
Right? And so they get to share, because people, I think especially like your generation, there has to be heart. Like there has to be a cause. There has to, like,
it's got to feel authentic.
Yeah. And it's got to be good. Right. And they get to share in that with you. And when they wear your jewelry, they're on that team. Right. And man, what a great role model.
I don't know about that.
You know what I mean?
Totally. Oh,
Well,
100%.
I do. You'll learn. I've got
You're
20
kind.
years on you. No, but I mean, we've never met some. Susan's the same way. Like Susan, she has such a gift with people, and she acts tough, but she's got a heart the size of Texas, and she'll help.
She'll get really mad at you. for saying
Anybody. I know, but whatever. I don't give a crap. I'm not scared of Susan anymore. I know she's just a big softie, but I mean, she's brilliant, obviously. But I mean, it is really cool to kind of see her recognize that in you. It's like when he said Susan sending somebody, like we already know we're going to like the person, right?
For sure.
So anyway, I'm rambling, but it's such an awesome part of your story, and I think it deserves to be talked about. So let me talk about it, because that
I
way,
appreciate
it's hard to
You don't talk
say
about
all
yourself.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So I'm going to shift gears a little bit because I want to get behind the toilet story on your end.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
It was really funny.
Thank you.
It was really funny. So give us some background. Like, what happened? What happened? What in the world was that?
Oh man.
Good.
At least I caught it.
That's true.
Okay, so I get this email from this girl, and she's like, I'm so sad. I just dropped my ring in the toilet at work, and I'm just devastated right now. Like, can you send me a new one?
Oh.
And I was like, okay, like normally I just either be like yes or no. But I was like, wait, this is funny. Like, I'm going to use this. So I posted it on my story, and I was like, you guys, what do we think? Like, should I give her one or should I not? And people were very pressed about it. Well, I know. I think I was like, I have questions. Like, what was the condition of the toilet?
What was inside of it?
And so I messaged her. I'm like, what was the circumstance here? And she's like, I was at work. It was just like number one, but like I work in a medical environment, and I just like couldn't. And I posted that, and people were like, oh boy, like, don't you dare help this girl out. Like, if you drop your iPhone in the toilet, you reach in and grab it. Like, she should have reached. She does not deserve anything. Do not help her.
Oh, the ring was in the toilet. Like, she could see it. It didn't get.
Yeah. And then she flushed it.
But she knew it was there and chose to, like, I can't touch that.
Yeah.
What?
But she was like, well, it's meaningful enough that I emailed you. And other people are like, just help her out. Like, this poor girl. Like,
wow.
She obviously wants one. So I like created this like poll, and everyone was very like heated how they felt about it.
Yeah, I'd
like,
be a bad guy. I'd be like, seriously? It's just pee. Like, if you love the ring, you'd reach in.
All right, like reach your hanger in. And people are like, if I dropped my wedding ring, I would do it. And like, I've done that for your rings before. She should have done it. Like, she doesn't respect the drip. I'm like, okay. Like, I just was having so much fun. And then I was like, okay, I'm not going to help her out because the rings are sold out. Like, I literally don't have any left to give her. So people are like, I'll sell her mine. Like $500. She can have it. Like $700. It's hers. I'm like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I needed.
This black market.
Oh, no.
So then that was another storyline. And then.
So what ended up happening?
So I got her phone number and I called her. She's from here, like local.
Okay.
And I was like, will you come down and I'll take pictures of my next ring on you? So she came down, and I got a press box for her. But inside the press box was just like toilet cleaning supplies. Like, one of those like 2
Latex
feet like
gloves.
grabbers. Yep, latex gloves were in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
one of those.
little gopher.
Yeah, just like funny, because I'm like, here's the thing. People will remember. Like, we're talking about it right now.
Oh,
it
for
obviously
sure.
worked. They won't remember if I'm just like, yeah, you can have one. But if I like
Well, it's a
blow it
win-win.
up.
She gets her ring back, too.
Oh, I didn't give her one.
Oh, you didn't give her one?
You did end up doing it?
No. I was like, you have to find one. I sent her people who were like, I'll sell her mine. And then this girl that I used to go out with, her dad Venmoed me $50 and was like, I feel bad for her. Like, will you give this to her?
Oh, no way.
Oh,
How cool.
but it's just like fun to.
I wish I had that marketing side of
Work
my
with
brain.
people.
I would never have thought about that. Not in
Right.
a million years.
Oh, for sure.
Well, there's certain things people like talking about more, like any experience that's personal, like flying on the plane. Everyone talks like, I like window, I like aisle. I'm like, I don't care.
Right.
But you could talk about what you like all day on the plane. Right. Or like toilet things, like people are like, oh, I fold, I scrunch. Like, it's just like things like that are entertaining to talk about, or like love stuff with like exes. Great marketing opportunities.
Wow. Oh,
I
man.
remember all this.
For real, we could sit like...
Like I had one kid, this is like a spoiler because I don't know if this will come out when I've done it or not yet, but he messaged me and he's like, can I get a press box? I know it would win my ex back. Like it's the only thing that would work. So I posted that and I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. Like you guys can come down to the warehouse. I'll throw you a date. Like, and everyone's like, this relationship is toxic. Like, do not help him. And everyone's like, help the poor guy.
Isn't that funny? Like
how strong people feel about it.
Yeah. I think maybe it's just because we're also like, we all have a place to share our opinions now.
Yeah.
So everyone thinks that their opinion's important because there's a place to talk about it. But yeah, people get so worked up about it.
But it was so funny because then she started messaging me and she's like, I'm sick to my stomach. Like, is this about me? And I was like, no, it's not. Like, and then her best friend was like, this has to be this guy named so-and-so, isn't it? And I'm like, no, it's not. And she's like, it totally is. This matches their story exactly. And I'm just like running with it.
Wow.
So it was
this
so
is
fun.
Still in the process of happening.
Still in the process. Yeah.
Oh,
I won't tell you what's going to happen, but
should we bump this one 2 weeks so we don't spoil anything?
Yeah.
No, you're good.
Oh,
but
my
things
gosh.
like that, or like another one is someone once got a package from me and she opened it and it was like red syringes. And I was like, what in the heck? And my label had come off at UPS and like stuck to another package. And she had gotten that package.
Gosh.
Whoa.
And so that I was like,
Yeah.
what is this? And so I like was dramatic on my story again. Like, what is this? Like drugs? Like the cure to coronavirus? Like, what do we have here? And then I went on Amazon and bought red syringes that were pens and threw them in every press box. Like right after that.
Brilliant.
I just need a little bit of that.
It's
I
good.
have none of that.
And people are like, wait, I'm still confused about the red needles. Like, was this a marketing stunt? I'm like, no, but I turned it into one.
Wow. It's like the shrimp and cinnamon toast crunch. Have you guys heard of all that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, like yesterday, this guy posted a tweet, poured out a cinnamon toast crunch, and there were 2 like shrimp shells in it that were sent like all cinnamon
No way.
And it's this big. He's all over the news right now. Like
Well,
it's this big.
look at Ocean Spray.
Yeah.
That I mean, to your point, just like being ready for an opportunity, like
And
that's
seizing
not
it.
planned, but man, did they take advantage of that?
Well, and that's the thing. Like cinnamon toast crunch, like came out pretty quick. Like there's no way like those are not shrimp shells. They're like sugar. Like the sugar can do this certain thing and caramelize and then all these chefs got on like, I have cooked millions. Those are shrimp. And then it's like you say, like talking about folding and scrunching. Like
Yeah.
everyone
You want things
was
that people
commenting
have an
on
opinion on.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it is sugar, but who knows? Did Cinnamon Toast Crunch do that on purpose? Make it look like shrimp? Because now look at all the social media attention they're getting.
Oh.
But I sure hope it's not real because that's my favorite cereal.
One of
And
my
that's
buddies was
scary.
like, they could do that every night and I'll still eat it.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I probably would too.
So do you have other products, like other lines in your brain that eventually you want to come out with?
Yeah, I'm actually working on a few right now that I'll tell you after we finish recording this.
I love after
That
the mic
fit
shut.
the brand.
We learn stuff.
They still fit the brand, but they're not rings. So
Okay.
I'm really excited for them.
And end of the year type of stuff, next year type of stuff?
One is the goal is May.
Okay.
The
So
other
soon.
one, the goal is summer, but that one I don't know if that'll happen.
Okay.
And then a couple more in the fall.
Very cool.
But yeah.
Damn.
But it'll be like a one and done thing.
Okay.
Right now is the plan. We'll see if that changes. But
Look at him building hype and scarcity.
I love it.
Are you sure you don't work for Nike and sneakers?
no, that'll be so cool though.
He's probably going to be calling.
I
Right?
wish.
Any brand should be calling you and talking to you right now because your ability to market and like position yourself in front of your audience is unbelievable.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it's just, you're such a good dude. Like,
Yeah.
that's the coolest part
I always
about
like
this.
it when good guys win, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's, and hopefully that always stays because it is such an important. People do. They want to support. I mean, obviously, they want it to be cool and everything else, but they want to be a part of something that's got some heart to it.
Yeah.
And so, so what about like employees and stuff? How's that going?
Good. I just have like people that help me fulfill, and then I have one girl that's like when she came on, she was my assistant, but now she's more like operation and like project.
Yep.
She's super capable. I don't even know what the title would be. And then I just have a customer service girl, and then my dad helps me with a bunch of random stuff.
So how's that? Are they mostly friends, people you knew before?
Yeah, it's super. And I mean, it's not like these big hires that I found on LinkedIn. It's like,
right.
Like my friend Katie, who works for me. It's like Katie is so OCD and like just good at figuring things out. And I'm like, yeah, will you help me do this? Because you could figure it out better than I can.
Perfect job for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's a hard part, like owning a business. I mean, the way things are going, you're gonna.
Yeah.
That's I remember,
especially as like a creative, like taking that into business owner, sometimes is difficult.
Oh, 100%.
One, it was hard for me to pass off like even fulfilling for the longest time. I'm like, no, this is the cool part is that like I package them, and then I'm like, I do not need to be packaging every single ring. Like
for sure, total waste.
It has my touch start to finish, but I don't need to be like putting every label on every envelope.
Way more valuable to just be thinking of the next thing and keeping your focus on that. But yeah, that's always a hard part, once your business starts growing and hiring and firing, and it's tough.
Yeah. So with your stuff, is it always drop only? Like, I can't get on your site and buy anything right now.
No.
Is that how it will always stay?
No, I'll probably do some evergreen products
Okay.
this year, maybe.
Okay.
It's so hard to scale a drop model. It's like, there's good problems to have, like things are selling out, but also like ordering inventory is kind of tricky because it's like, I want to sell a lot, but I also don't want to be stuck in inventory.
Yeah.
So kind of working on.
So that's why Nike, they sell out of their shoes and then they magically have re-releases.
Yeah.
Oh, that pisses me off.
2 months later in the middle of the day.
You feel so cool about getting one of them in the morning. Then it says sold out. Then at 3:00, the full run of sizes is available on Nike. Like, oh, you bastards. I was all excited that I got something that not many people are getting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, where can everyone find you? Right now, you're still Tristen Ikaika. After this episode, it's just gonna be
rebrand.
at Ikaika.
Ikaika.
Perfect.
Not even
like
.com, just Ikaika.
Ikaika. You type it into Google and it'll take you there. Yeah. My Instagram, Tristen Ikaika. My website, Tristen Ikaika. All my other socials are Tristen Ikaika.
Okay. And when's the next drop?
April 11th.
April 11th.
Yes.
Oh, so there'll be time for the listeners.
Yeah. And then May 2nd. And then May 30th. I'm trying to plan 6 months out right now, which is like huge for me. I've never planned more than like one.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're learning some new things this year.
So are your drops a lot like the Nike, like just online? You just have to.
Just like they dropped this last one, sold out in like, I did a one ring that was like a butterfly and it sold out in like 6 minutes.
Sheesh.
And then everything else was gone within
so
not
when
long
you get
after
a drop,
that.
do I, it doesn't matter what, like, do you say what sizes they're coming in before the drop? Or otherwise?
Right now, the manufactured ones, I did a poll on my Instagram. I said, do you fit size 5 through 9? And 96% of people said yes.
Oh, okay.
I know. It's kind of hard. I want to do some bigger ones, but it's hard to sell through them.
It's all right. I have your phone number now.
I'll make the sample in the 13 for you.
That's what I'm talking about. I want some samples.
Yeah.
It's like shoes. If you get a sample, that's a big deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll cater your staff that's about to triple in size here in the next couple months.
That's the goal.
What a story. Well, man, this has been such a pleasure. Thank you
for having me.
Don't forget about us little guys.
Back.
Oh,
we'd love to have
that's
you
how I
back
feel.
I think in a year we'll have a lot more stories to tell.
Hopefully.
So you're awesome. Thanks, Tristen.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you guys.